Okay, welcome back. So in the little intro you just saw me pulling down the kayak, and I'm going to kind of go through some of the things I've already done. Also as well show you some projects that are up and coming with that. I'm going to set this up for a fishing little rig, and since I still have yet to fix my canoe, and I've long since sold my belly boat, this is kind of where I'm at. So let me pull the camera around, I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so this is your typical Pelican Odyssey 100 Costco special, and straight out of the box comes with some paddles, and basically what you see here, I've got one, two, three, four, 5 D loops and 2 cleats. These cleats are screwed in and anchored below with a plate underneath. And these D-loops are just riveted on. So they're not going to take a lot of weight, but it should be enough for what I'm going to use it for. So basically that's my kayak the way it's set up right now. This one also has a hatch in the back here. A little dry storage, if I can open it. There we go. Now, is this thing truly waterproof? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not sure I'd trust it with any super valuables and anything like that. Probably have to put it inside a waterproof container to begin with. These kayaks have a foam on the inside that goes back into the side, so you can't actually access anything back there. I suppose I've seen people where they've cut sections of things out so they could actually get in there and stuff stuff in there, but I don't know if I want to go that far. And on the front it has a little bit of a dry hatch here. Guess it was open. So again, not really sure. I mean, it's a rubber seal there, but how secure that is, I'm not really sure. I wouldn't venture to guess. The again, people have cut these things out so they can access inside and have more of a thing. But you know, you can get to all that from the front because there is no foam. There is no foam to stuffed in the bow of this thing. So okay. So a couple plans I've got is it's got a hole here, probably for like a GoPro mount or something like that. So I'm going to kind of look at that and see where it's going to go. I do have a hole here that I put in, and I'll show you what I've done with that coming up here shortly. And it also has this bungee thing here, so that's probably to hold a cell phone or that kind of a deal. Okay, so inside that little hole that I showed you just moments ago, what I did was I created myself a little rod holder, and what this is more or less for my fly rod. You can buy Scotty mounts and all that stuff, and they work great, and you know, they're relatively inexpensive, 20 to 25 bucks. But being who I am, I like to try and make my own stuff. So basically, this is a PVC T, and I've just notched out a little. Based on how my fly rod sits in here, just notched out a little T inside there. And then I've got another piece here that I've screwed on, so it locks into place. So when my rod's in there, it's not going to come out. This is a little bit flimsy, and I kind of noticed that. I did test this at one point. And it actually came apart on me, so I might do this whole notch thing and screw and do a similar thing over here just to kind of make it a little bit more stable. This thing also pivots on this little elbow, same idea, it's just on a T, and then this part here will screw into that hole, and then that goes on the bottom and it can do that. So I'm going to set that up, and you can see how that works. Now this hole is just big enough to fit this thing, so it actually threads in. I could ream it out and make it bigger, but you know, I kind of like that extra security of it threading into the plastic of the boat. So I've got a stainless steel washer and a nut just to go on the underside of it. Now this nut, I'm probably going to end up putting a butterfly nut on there, a wing nut, and just to make it a little easier to put on. But just to show you, I'm just going to put it on hand tight. Okay, so I've got my rod. Let's make sure you can see that. This rotates around. This slips in like that. Now my rod's set up because I'm left-handed, but you can make this set up your own way. And then that locks into place. This pivots back and forth if I would need it to. Like that. Get a fish on. Just rotate this over. Slide this out. And reel it in. Okay, so that's a little my makeshift little rod holder. And yeah. So that was one of the first things I did. I'll show you some other things I've done in a second here. So I went and got a trusty old pool noodle. Now this one here happens to be a nice teal color, matches nicely with the kayak. My thought is I'm going to... So we've got this little bungee thing here. And it's pretty easy to come off. You just do this with one hand here. Just pops in like that. So I'm thinking about just putting one of these here. And the idea of that is I'm actually going to... I'll cut this down, but I was thinking about I could put some flies on there just so they're ready to go. Just kind of poke them in there. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so just cut that down to size. I plugged a few flies on there just for demonstration's sake, I guess. And I like that. It's pretty good. I can still use this to hold stuff if I want to. I'm thinking about taking, I've got a couple more of these pool noodles. I'm thinking about taking these and kind of putting them on here. This one's almost the perfect height. So I'm going to grab another one, do it on either side. And that'll give me more of a little bit of a rest there type of a thing. So place to put stuff, a little bit more flotation, so to speak. So I'll do that. It's kind of hard to do with a camera in my hand. Okay, so that's what that looks like. One on each side. Got one up front. And the rod holder. Plus the cleats. And the eye bolts, or the DIs, or whatever you want to call them. So this thing has these little rod holders here. Kind of a nice idea, but to be honest, the way these things stick out, it would be probably a little bit of a stretch to try and sit in the kayak. I've come up with an idea of having a crate that pivots on here. Now to get this crate on here to sit flush, we need something to go across here, because obviously the crate would kind of sit in the middle of this. So what I've done is I've made this little bracket here. Get that in. And that just sits in there in those little rod holders. So now we can put a crate on here, and I'll grab that and show you. The idea with this is that I've drilled some holes in the bottom here, so obviously I don't want to have to worry about this thing coming apart. So the next little thing I'm doing here is made myself a little bit of an anchor trolley system. So I've got a couple of stainless, actually they're probably not stainless, they're probably just nickel coated, but just going to hook this into I'm just going to go into the little handles here. What I want to try and do with this kayak, since it's not just my kayak, it's a family deal. So I don't want to make anything permanent, so to speak. Obviously, the cleats and the D loops are permanent, but everything else can be taken on or off, put on or taken off as needed. So if my daughter or my son or my wife wants to take this kayak out with a friend or something like that, not have to worry about all the little contraptions that are on it. So just clip this onto here. You run it up and clip it onto the back side. There's all kinds of little things on YouTube there or online where different ways to do your anchor system, from using a dog leash to a clothesline to whatever. I like to keep it simple. I just have mine on a stainless steel clip. The pool noodle, it's actually onto a PVC pipe. The it's an orange line, and it just hooks onto here. And the idea is, for some reason, if I need to let go, anchor's attached to this end, if I need to let go and take off in a hurry, I can just unclip it and take off. This will float. It does float. I've tried it. And my anchor's still attached, and I can come back to it and retrieve it later. If I need to tie off a more secure thing, I can always just take whatever pan out, whatever amount of line I need, and tie it off to the cleat. That's simple. What I'm using for an anchor, I got a lot of this old diving weight around from the old days, but that's all I'm going to use for an anchor for now, until I can come up with this other thing. Some people use those grappling anchors and stuff like that, and that's all great, but a lot of the places that I actually fish, there's a lot of trees, deadheads inside the water, and stuff that's sunken down and waterlogged, and just submerged trees. And if you had something like that or anything with a kind of a hook, you're probably going to lose that. It's in fact, I have lost one there before. So this just drops down. It's, you know, a couple pounds of weight, and if I lose it, oh well, I'm not really out anything. So the one thing about this is it is lead, and ideally it really should be a coated lead. So I might just maybe spray this or somehow coat this, so I'm not obviously hurting the environment. So. And of course, when I'm not using this stuff, it all goes inside the crate. So the weight there. And this has got a little thing attached to it so that I can just secure it. I don't have to. I can just secure it. I don't have to worry about it coming loose. I'm just playing around here, and I just strapped my little fishing bag. It's about all I usually take when I go fishing. I don't pack a big tackle box, although I do have an abundance of tackle boxes and stuff. I just pretty much I'm a bit of a minimalist when it comes to fishing. So. If you haven't figured that out already, but I just strap that around the cleats, and it seems to fit perfectly. I can still get my legs and stuff under there if I need be, and everything's there if I need it. So you sit there, got some flies there if I don't already have some up there, or I can get into any of the pockets, flip this around, and do that. So this another little added bonus that I didn't really think about, but there you go. That I'm gonna have to come up with a more secure system for that. It seems a little too loose. Maybe move a back one to make it more secure. Okay, that's about all I got for now. I've got a couple more projects to do on this, and keep you updated as I move along. Thanks for watching. So we are heading towards James Lake to do some fishing and kayaking, and Rachel is in the driver's seat. Say hi, Rachel. Hey, 2 hands on the wheel. What are you doing?